how the fuck is Sean Strickland the champion of the UFC? How did he just beat Israel Adesanya in a striking fight? Rohan, pinch me. Is this fucking real?
It's real,
Ow.
man.
It's fucking real. What
it's
the
real
fuck?
Life, dude.
This makes no sense. How? How did he beat him? How? I mean, we saw how. But, like, who the fuck saw this happening? I mean, I see people online and whatnot saying, oh, Strickland, he's going to wrestle his way to victory.
Yeah.
Bro, he didn't shoot a single takedown. What the fuck?
Well, he said that was the game plan himself, right?
Yeah, he said that, but he just outstruck Israel Adesanya. I saw a stat in, like, the second or third round. Adesanya had, like, 11% of head strikes landed. Folks, the man next to me is the world's biggest Israel Adesanya fan. But he's also happy for Sean Strickland. Rohan, I want to hear your thoughts on what the fuck we watched on Saturday night, because pitch me one more time.
I got you, man. I'm not going to do that hard.
But fuck, it is real.
Rohan,
talk to me, man. What are you feeling? What are the emotions? What are the thoughts?
Yeah, like, I mean, immediately post-fight, I'm happy for Sean Strickland. I feel like a lot of the UFC community that's really, really knows Sean Strickland, that really knows his background, knows where he comes from. If you've heard his episode on the Joe Rogan Experience, he kind of went in depth on his backstory and his upbringing. His family was kind of a broken family. His dad was abusive to his mom. He had even his grandpa was kind of a crazy character. He even got into detail about that himself. But the point is, man, coming from where he comes from to get to this point, it's a huge, huge achievement, and I'm happy for him. I know you're happy for him. But man, as a huge Israel Adesanya fan, I am so, so disappointed in his performance overall, because I just feel like he did not bring it. He didn't bring it. And it wasn't that he, was off that night and something was wrong with him, or, people were saying he might have had a pre-existing injury. I don't think that was the case, man. I find that hard to buy. I just think that Sean Strickland had his number and his style was tailor-made to beat Izzy. If you look at it, it's nothing flashy. It's so simple, but it's so, so effective. And his game plan coming into there, shout out to Eric Nixick, because it's kind of the same with all his fighters at this point, that all his fighters are patient and simple yet effective. He turned Francis Ngannou into kind of the same kind of fighter, and we saw it with Sean Strickland, just working behind those lead strikes, that 1-2 that he loves to throw, just lifting that front leg to make Izzy think sometimes, popping out that teep kick to push Izzy back, keep the pressure on the entire 25 minutes. And he dropped him in round 1. And when that happened, dude, my heart fucking dropped with Izzy, man.
Me too.
And it was fucking...
I've never felt anything like that before.
I couldn't believe it.
Guys, if you go into the live tab of our YouTube channel, you can see our live reaction to all the fights. Just scroll to the end. You'll see our reaction to Strickland Adesanya. Bro, we weren't even like, oh my God. We were like...
No. Yeah, like, inside, I didn't say anything, I don't think.
I wish you guys felt what I felt when that happened. My heart, like, I've never actually felt my heart, a few times, but that was insane. Like, my heart dropped. Like, I could not, look at this guy.
Don't remind me. Dude, it's like, again, man, Sean Strickland coming into this fight wins over Abusner Magomedov and Nasruddin
Magomedov, you keep doing that.
Oh, Magomedov, sorry, I keep doing that. And Nasruddin Imavov, again, just, these guys are not Israel Adesanya. Coming into this, you think he's just going to be completely outclassed. And it was the reverse. He outclassed Israel Adesanya. And by the end of the fight, he was bullying that man. I mean, walking him down, screaming, Chinaman in his face. And it was just a dominant performance. So, cool. I mean, not cool to see, but it was actually just inspiring to see somebody who is such a big underdog. People were calling this the biggest upset in the sport's history. I mean, obviously, Matt Serra over GSP is up there. Leon over Kamaru, just given the circumstances of that fight, is up there. Valentina recently losing to Alexa. But man, this is just something that I don't think anybody really deep down saw coming.
I mean, yeah, I believe Shevchenko was like almost a minus 1,000 against Grasso, but we all knew there was a path. There was a path to Grasso. She's that good. We just thought, you and I, we thought there was zero path to Strickland, and so did everybody else. I mean, we got, for those that don't know, in our full podcast episode last week and our shorts, we were so high on Adesanya, just saying in our videos, Strickland has zero chance of winning this fight, saying that this is going to be Adesanya's easiest fight since like the beginning of his UFC career, from like an Anderson Silva, like even a Brad Tavares, which is like one of his first fights. Rob Wilkinson. But man, he won, and we got so much shit for that. Like even our TikTok comments, just insane, saying, "Oh, you don't know fighting and whatnot." Come on, you predicted Sean Strickland would beat Israel Adesanya in a striking fight. Don't lie. Nobody fucking saw that coming. But man, It's just shocking. That's the exact word. It's absolutely shocking. And Dan Hardy did a breakdown before the fight where he was breaking down Sean Strickland's last fight against Abus Magomedov, and Abus just fainted a teep kick, and Strickland put his hands down like this, left his chin right there. And after seeing that video, it only reassured me that Adesanya was probably, I said in my short he was going to win a dominant decision, but after I saw that, I was convinced he was going to knock him out. And Strickland just pushed right through it. And one more thing I want to mention, I'll shoot it back to you. We were watching the MMA fighting post-show where they do the press conferences at the end of the fight. And one of the reporters said, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but one of the reporters said, at the end of that Adesanya-Gastelum fight, or just in the entire fight, you could see that Adesanya was ready for a war. You saw that. He was ready to die in there. You saw his face after the fight, demolished. But at the end of that Strickland fight, when you just mentioned Strickland was yelling at him, Chinaman, just getting in his face, he looked scared. He looked like he wanted to bitch out. He looked like he wanted the fight to end as soon as possible. And we have never seen that from Israel Adesanya. And last thing I'm going to say, I just feel like Israel Adesanya didn't train for Sean Strickland. I feel like he was just training for a fight. I don't think he was training for that style of Sean Strickland specifically. And we're going to get into our rematch breakdown in just a second, but just final thoughts on just that. What we saw on Saturday.
You just mentioned, he didn't train for Sean Strickland. And I think Laura Senko actually said something about this. Israel in his own right is a very, very hard fighter to prepare for just because, he strikes from so many different angles. He has one of the most complex striking games in the UFC. And that obviously wasn't on display on Saturday night. But Sean Strickland, on the other hand, is also a really hard fighter to prepare for because nobody really fights like him either. He has a really tight guard. He keeps his hands up all the time, but are out front, and he really only throws straight techniques. And he just constantly walks you down. And again, maybe that's why Izzy was training for a fight, because that's what he thought it was going to be. He didn't think he'd have really anything, strategic to worry about, and he thought he could just go in there and counter-strike his way to a victory. But really, Sean Strickland never presented those opportunities for that counter-striking. He never really left his head open, and Izzy did. Izzy was trying to move against the cage, and, at times it looked like he was trying to recreate that Pereira knockout where he was kind of moving his head against the fence, playing possum and trying to catch Sean, but Sean was never. He was so composed and so just calm in there the entire time. And man, coming into the ring, it looked the complete opposite. Even my friend was saying it looked like Sean was gonna, he looked like he wanted to leave because he looked so nervous walking into the cage. And it was the complete opposite once the fight actually started. I mean, it was a dominant performance. And like you said, man, Izzy just did not show that same fight like he has in the past. And I think that's something again about, that win streak that he was on, and especially coming off of that Alex Pereira knockout. That's that high of that magnitude, knocking out your fucking rival, your arch nemesis like that. I think you can kind of just tend to calm down a little bit after that and just accept where you are in life. And I don't think he really put his all into this one and all his focus into this, and it showed. So yeah, happy for Sean though.
Yeah, we're on the same page when it comes to this. But I want to talk about a rematch. Yeah. Yeah. It's so tough to call because if you couldn't tell, both of us think that Sean Strickland just has that style. We don't think Adesanya was injured. We don't even think he was having a bad day. We just think that Sean Strickland's style beat Israel Adesanya. But Rohan, a rematch. It's been going through my mind ever since the fight ended. Who wins? You go first.
I mean, it's really hard to say. Obviously, in the post-fight press conference, Israel didn't do a lot of talking himself. He kind of just let Eugene do the talking for him. Obviously wanted to be with his family and his loved ones, which you completely understand after a devastating loss like that. But Eugene mentioned that he believes that with minor adjustments, they can win a rematch tomorrow. That's what he said on Saturday night. And, in my mind, I'm like, it didn't look like that. I mean, what minor adjustments are you looking at? Because if those were minor adjustments, why don't you correct those, after the second round where, I mean, it's not like Sean really changed up what he was doing as the fight went on. It was kind of the same style through those 25 minutes. And Israel didn't really change anything about the way he was fighting. So I don't really believe Eugene when he says that. And I don't know if I believe that Israel can correct enough to change the outcome of this fight. But I just think that coming off of a loss, Israel Adesanya is a different fighter. And we saw when he was walking into that octagon for that rematch, that UFC rematch against Alex Pereira,
Yep.
he came in there with fucking malice in his eyes, bro. He looked like he wanted to go kill a man. And that's exactly what he did, you know? I mean, he took all that frustration and that anger out on Alex in the cage.
Mm-hmm.
He found a way to win. And I mean, he's done that consistently in his career when he's coming off of a loss. I mean, that I guess the one exception is against when he lost to Jan. I guess the fight after that was Vittori, right?
Yeah.
But even in that fight, he faced some adversity and he had his back taken and kind of, you know, flipped the script on him. And that was still a dominant decision. So I just think Izzy coming off of a loss is a different fighter. And he's going to fight this time, man, because he did not fucking fight in this fight. Like, he was really just, I don't want to say cowering, but he wasn't willing to engage in a real fist fight, which is what Sean Strickland looks to do in every fight he steps into. So I think Izzy has to be willing to bite down on his mouthpiece and make this a real fight. And I think he'll do that if this fight does happen again. So I'm going to go Izzy in a rematch. Yeah.
I'm with you. I think he does it. I think Izzy comes into that fight with a chip on his shoulder. I could not have said it better. I think he comes in willing to fight. He's done it once now. And keep in mind, guys, he only had 5 weeks to prepare for Sean Strickland. He had many more weeks to prepare for that day, UFC 293, September 9th. But he only had 5 weeks to prepare for Sean Strickland. And he knows who his next fight is. He's going to be training probably from tomorrow up until whenever that rematch is for Sean Strickland. And I think that's going to be key. I think he is going to do exactly what you just said, bite down on that mouthpiece. And I think I think Israel Adesanya does it in a rematch. And final prediction when it comes to a rematch, I think he wins. I want to say he finishes him. It's so tough, but I think Israel Adesanya wins a very close decision in the rematch. Don't get me wrong. Sean Strickland is going to present the same problems and will have success with the same problems he gave Adesanya in that fight we just saw on Saturday. But man, all I got to say is I'm super stoked for whenever that second fight happens. And I see tons of people on Twitter and everything saying, oh, don't give him an immediate rematch. I think he deserves the immediate rematch. We know, like you said, we know what Israel Adesanya is like coming off a loss. And I saw people comparing giving him an immediate rematch to possibly giving Aljo an immediate rematch. I think Aljo should fucking get an immediate rematch. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I know he's never going to get one, which is it's just sad to think about, because I think Aljo has a better chance of beating Sugar Sean than Israel Adesanya does against Sean Strickland in the second matchup, just because styles, you know. But man, I do think he deserves that rematch, and I do think he wins a rematch. But pretty much the only people saying Adesanya doesn't deserve a rematch is those Adesanya haters, which there is a lot of, especially after all that dog shit came out. We don't got to get into it, but there you go, guys. There are our feelings on what the fuck happened on Saturday. I just keep repeating it. It's just every time I talk about this fight, I just say, what the fuck? Yeah.
I mean, it's cool to see kind of the division is moving forward a little bit. Obviously, me personally, as an Izzy fan, I want him to regain the belt, and I think he has a really good shot to do so. But, you know, we're going to see some fresh names in the title mix. You know, Dricus du Plessis is in the picture. Hamzat and Paulo. I'm so excited for that fight.
That's going to be a fight.
I've seen a lot of Izzy haters calling for that Izzy Hamzat matchup because I know they want to see that. And
you only saw it from MMA Guru.
Yeah, no. But I know, bro, personally, I mean, you have to assume that
should be interesting,
man. I don't know, man. What's going to happen in this middleweight division? It'll be interesting to see. But, you know, for the outcome of that fight, I just gotta say, you know, it is what it is. You know, life
on to the next, baby.
Yeah, exactly. You win some, you lose some. It was Sean Strickland's night. He won the belt, and I'm happy for him. The new middleweight champion of the world, Sean Tarzan Strickland.
Sean Tarzan Strickland and new. Folks, hope you guys enjoyed this little breakdown of the main event we saw on Saturday. Full podcast will be out tomorrow from when you see this. So, again, hope you enjoyed. Signing off, it's been Lucas and Rohan. Adios.
Peace.